One of the questions I get quite often is if a repair shop didn't fix my car correctly, what can I do? If my insurance company paid a claim or recommended me to the correct place or wherever I'm going and I'm not happy with the service that I've gotten, what are the steps can you take? And also, if it's taking too long, what can you do to speed up that process? I'm going to put this answer in 4 pieces so that we have some actionable steps that we can take. The first step you've probably already done, but it's the obvious choice, is talk to the body shop. Sometimes it's not their fault and sometimes it is. So determine, who are you angry at? I've got customers that instantly get defensive and they're like, oh, I hate this insurance company. And they literally just had an accident. They haven't even filed a claim, done anything. It's just the natural instinct that we have is we're so frustrated because we hear all the stories that insurance companies just hurt people along the way. They're there to keep the money and not pay out on claims. The good companies will protect you correctly and try to get that claim process done. Quick example is I've actually had a recent customer file a claim. They literally, from the start to the time the check was written, well, less than 3 days. Now, in this scenario, they actually didn't agree on the price, and that's something that we're going to have the body shop and the insurance company work together. But it's simple when you know the right steps to take. So that's the question. Can the body shop fix this? Is this an issue that is a payment issue, or is it an issue that the parts are being delayed? What is the actual holdup on this piece? Here's where I actually see a lot of issues where insurance policies don't have the right coverage. And if you're really heart set on getting that perfect, what we call OEM, the original equipment part for that car, if it's a Lexus and you want that Lexus part, not the part that came from Napa or AutoZone or whatever repair company you have local. In that case, you usually in most insurance companies have to select or pay an additional cost to say that I want those more expensive pieces if my car needs to get repaired. To be honest with you, almost nobody I ever insured does that. I've had a couple people ask about it, and honestly, they don't even think about it until it's too late. And it's not really that big of an issue, but the thing that we notice is that the pieces that you use from like a AutoZone or a Napa, as long as you're not doing like alternators, those for some reason you can buy 10 different levels, and if you don't buy the right one, that special brand, then you're not going to get a good piece. Starters are the same situation. But if your standard like ball joints and your actual physical hardware, most of the time those parts are in good shape. You can go on their website and review them too if they give you the part numbers, and just make sure that you're getting the right parts in your car. So if that's the case, we know what route to go. We don't even have to bother with the insurance company. We can focus on the mechanic shop and say, hey, what's the deal? Can you fix my car? Is it too long of a wait? Am I going to lose my rental car coverage? Whatever the case is. And do I need to go to a different shop and not have this frustration? The second step that you should think of taking is contacting your insurance company. If it isn't necessarily the parts or whatever, and they're waiting on something from your insurance, then in that case, you need to find out what's being held up in the claims process. Maybe the claims adjuster hasn't gotten to it, or it's been just backed up. Whatever that case is, we need to find out where the step is being missed. You almost have to think of yourself as the project manager. It's your car, it's your insurance, it's your body shop or the recommended body shop, but it's in your hands because they're only recommendations. They're not actually owned or connected to that insurance company except for a good relationship. In those cases, you're the one that handles that project, just like on a house. If you built a house, you control the project manager who controls the people. Well, in this case, the insurance company is kind of that project manager. You're the actual owner or manager of the situation. You're going to go to that insurance company and say, hey, what is the holdup? Is it payment? Is it this? Is it that? Are you still waiting to get pictures from them? Whatever we can do, we need to move this step to the next position. Now, if you're within the first week or they've given you a couple week time frame, they do have some time for the insurance company to figure it out, get it all situated, and then either pay you the payment for the car repair, or they're going to go straight to the body shop and pay them to repair it. If it's already been work that's been done, the third step is to seek out advice. What I mean by that is if you think that something wasn't done correctly, or you think that something wasn't paid correctly, it's not impossible to undo that. It's not impossible to reopen a claim or start a new claim without affecting you and having 2 claims on your record. You can fight those off at any point in time. Honestly, I can remove them myself, and I usually just need proof later on to show that there was a reason I removed it. In this case, we can get that. That's not the problem. The issue that we've got to figure out is, was the repair done correctly? So in this part, you may want to see a third-party person that say, hey, can you check this work? Can you verify this? And sure, you're going to outpocket that. That's part of being the owner or the manager. You hold that responsibility. It's, yes, I could go after the insurance and say, pay this extra $100 bill. If that's the case, then sure. but I don't want them to open a new claim for that reason, because it's harder to fight something that you requested be reopened versus something that they can just add on to the current claim. So if they haven't closed the current claim, you can say, I need to have it inspected just to verify. And that's a little bit more of an argument you're going to have with the adjuster. I'll be honest, it's not a common request. So it's really up to each company on how high of service they're going to give. I'll be honest, most companies probably won't. So it might be easier, if you want to take the easy route, to just pay it out of pocket. But it is worth doing either way, whether it's you or them or who's paying the bill, to have it checked, because if you feel like something's incorrect and you can prove that it's incorrect, then you can have the whole thing redone. If it has to be fixed, repaid, whatever the case is, we don't want to have you going to a shop that is not doing the right job. The downfall to this is, if you do this, a lot of the times the insurance company and the law will have you go back to the other company because there's a warranty with it. Whether you like them or not, they're the ones that did the job. I've actually gone down this road. I was going to sue this guy. I was so angry. And it wasn't even an insurance claim. It was just so much problems. He dirtied my car, and it was a good interior, and it was all like, I just wanted everything done correctly, right? And so $500, $800 later out of my pocket, I was just frustrated. And so in this situation, you have to give them the opportunity to fix it. You might not like them, but that's the unfortunate piece of it. If you go off and get it fixed yourself, technically you could go back and give them the bill and say, I need you to pay this. These were the repairs that you did that I had to have another shop fix. In that scenario, that's the one I went down. I didn't get that paid for because the shop said, no, it was our right to fix it. It was our parts, our warranty, all of that stuff. And so in that scenario, it's kind of the legal stuff. Now we're talking about lawyer, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. The fourth one step is that you should file some sort of complaint. If your insurance company isn't doing the right place and they're not talking with you and explaining the situation and saying, hey, we need this amount of time, or this needs to happen. It's not uncommon for them to miss a date or not be right on the ball first things. Now, the companies that I work with usually are, and that's where the agent comes into play. Like, if that doesn't happen, you need to let your agent know so they can go at them. Like, hey, this is my customer. This is what needs to happen. What's the situation? And they can follow through to a little bit of a point, because at the end of the day, you're still the owner and the manager of this project. It's still in your hands, whether the agent does a good job or not. You choose the agent based on your likeliness of them helping you. If you're trying to complain against the insurance company, that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about here. But if they are doing you wrong and doing you dirty, then you need to go to DIFS, Department of Financial Services. There's a complaint option in there against a company doing fraud, right? That's one piece. What I'm talking about is filing a complaint internally. So if you're working with an adjuster and you're just bumping heads, you're not getting anywhere, they're not being communicative, and it's just not working out, go to the supervisor, go to that supervisor, whatever you got to do as far as the next level up, not necessarily for them to hear your case, for them to understand the situation. It's tough to be reasonable in this situation because you're like, I just want my car fixed and you guys did this and you guys did that. And so in those situations, you've almost got to sit back, take a day, figure it out. Because if you're just go hot-headed into the next person, you're just going to run into the same problem. It's not that they're going to hold each other's hands and say, we're going to get this guy. It's that they're going to respond. Keep in mind, they're dealing with 10, 20, 30 people every single month, if not more. So they don't have the luxury of fully focusing on your specific need. They come in a data line, they try to fix it, they try to get it out as quick as possible, but if you're just jumping on their throats, it's not going to help move things forward. It's not going to negate them to have to help you, but it's not going to help you going to the next level. And then the final step, if you are at the wit's end, it's been 30 plus days, 60 plus days, you haven't gotten contact, there's a limit. Insurance companies can't go a certain distance or a certain time frame without being in contact, without fixing your vehicle. This is insurance. The actual definition, you have to be made whole. And there's a time frame on that. Typically, I think it's 30 to 60 days. It depends on the state that you're in. But following that scenario, you have the right to go after them now. If that's the case and you're like, I'm done with these guys, I can't handle it, I'm done with the shop, whatever the case is, then you have to get a lawyer at this point. It's basically legal advice. I kind of step back in this world and say, hey, I'm on your side as your agent. If that's the case, go ahead, go down that road. I will help with documents if we need to and share that type of stuff. Just let me know. You've got to call me, not the lawyer, right? I'm going to give you the information, not the lawyer. If it does get to this point, you want to talk to either an injury lawyer, a liability lawyer, or a claims lawyer. Injury, if you're hurt, obviously that one's kind of like the sub one, the least likely. The claims lawyer is if they handle insurance claims specifically. That's kind of like the all-in-one person. They do liability, they do injury, they do just physical damage, they do, like you're talking about, delays. So they kind of know all of those scenarios, and it's as easy as Googling that type of a lawyer. Or you're doing a liability lawyer, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't need a liability lawyer where this, and that happened. Well, if somebody's liable, if you're liable for something you're trying to protect or get it taken care of, then in that scenario, that's more of kind of a medical or a property damage. 9 times out of 10, it's if you did the problem and they're coming after you, you want to have them protect you. It can be if someone hurt you or someone damaged your property, you can go back after them. So you have those 3 types of lawyers that you can look at. Not to say that other lawyers don't know what they're doing, but I personally would like to be niched down to which lawyer can handle my situation and has done it 100+ times over. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you never get to that step. If you guys have questions, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.